so the concept for this video is really simple. I wanted to just get the Pod Go, stick it on my lap, and dial in a lead tone that worked for me as quickly as possible. I did it about a minute, and I just wanted to show you the settings. So I pulled up a litigator, the drive all the way to 10, the bass at 3.7, the mids at 9.6, treble and presence off, and then I think turn the master up to 9.5. Aside from that, you don't need to touch it. Then jumped over to the cab and I used the 2x12 Bluebell with the 87 condenser, bring the distance to 1 if it's not already there, bring the early reflections to 23, and then really importantly, bring a high cut to 3.9. Okay, and then delay settings that I like, I bring up the dual delay. It's basically stock settings except for the feedback I bring up to around 85, and the mix I bring up to about 22, and then turn off the mod mode. Then the glitz is what I use for reverb. I just turn up the decay to 5.8 and have the mix at around 18. And then at the front of the amp, this is kind of my boost. I use a red squeeze with the sensitivity at 4.3, the mix at 57, and the level at 12, which is quite a significant boost at the front of the amp and pushes it into that kind of creamy overdrive territory. And then later on, I added this kind of thing. If you wanted to kind of cut the mids a little bit, if it's a bit hunky for you for whatever reason, just an EQ between the amp and the cab, and the mid gain at 5.3. So that's how I built the preset. I'll just kind of go through a little bit now and show you some of the decisions. So here's the amp with this. And you know, if you find that a bit honky, which I was kind of, add this EQ. And that just really tames some of that honk, especially when you've got the boost not engaged at the front of the amp. The reason I like this boost at the front of the amp is for this. So as you hear, you're kind of not insane amounts of gain, you know, like a dumble dimed, and then when you chuck this on, really just takes you into that kind of sweet spot of drive. This in the cab section, the high cut is really essential, as without it, quite a lot spikier, a lot more presence. Although even without that high cut down, I think you're getting pretty usable musical tones. So I take it down to here, but you could yeah, so the high cut I guess is kind of optional, but for me with a Strat, but yeah, give that a try and let me know in the comments what you think of that. You try this with your HX Stomp. You know, I'm just doing it on the Pod Go because it's a slightly bigger screen. Hopefully you can see that okay. But yeah, those were the settings that I'm digging. So drive at 10, bass at 3.7, mids at 9.6, and master up to 9.5. Try a compressor in front of it with the level boosted. 2x12 Bluebell, just because it's got a nice clear top end. The high cut down at 3.9. Dual delay with the feedback put up higher, and the left and right mix brought down lower, mods turned off. And then glitz reverb, the decay up at 5.8. I think it sounds pretty decent, especially for a tone that I dialed in like a minute. So goes to show you don't need to do loads of tweaking to get decent tones out of this stuff, I think.